Hi and welcome back to another one in the series of cheap obscure guitars that don't suck, question mark. And like I've said before, there's always going to be that question mark. Right, now today this is quite an interesting one. You may or may not recognise this. This is the Cort Effector. That doesn't say Cort on it. I'm pretty certain it is from Cort. Now Cort are still going. They make a range of very good guitars, right from budget up to high end. They also make guitars for a lot of other manufacturers as well. But this is from the 80s, I believe, and it's a little different because if you look down there, you will see a range and row of press buttons. Now these are built-in effects, so you imagine, cast your mind back into the 80s, looking for your mum's Sears catalogue or Kay's catalogue, looking for your next Christmas present, and you came across one of these, and you think, my God, I've got to have one of those. And in a way, it's quite a good idea because starting out, first guitar, the amps back then, you'd have been lucky if it had reverb on in the budget range that you'd probably buy as a first off. So getting a guitar that had built-in effects was, God man, you'd be king of the street, wouldn't you? Anyway, a bit more on those later. Now, this is a bloody heavy guitar and no prizes for what this is actually based on. That's pretty obvious, isn't it? It is a slab. Absolute slab of wood. Now it is ply, but it's very heavy ply. It's got twin humbucker pickups. Now the difference for this between a lot of guitars is there's no selector switch, so basically both effects are on all the time, and this first little button here, you press that and it just puts them out of phase to get a different effect, like selecting a different pickup. It's crap. Anyway, onwards, it's quite a nice fretboard, probably Laurel. The tuners, okay, be prepared to keep tuning it to keep it where you want it. But overall, it's actually a really quite a playable guitar, and it's not bad. It really isn't bad at all. The bad things about it, the effects. In their day, they're probably okay. Now, a little story. This one, it fell off the wall. It was hung up in the wall in my room here, and this happened. It landed from the wall onto a cabinet, that hit the pot, and it didn't work after that, so I had to take it apart and find out why, and it's busted the pot. So I soldered a resistor across the back, and here's a pick. That's of the circuit board. And rather than remove the whole circuit board and try and replace the pot, which would just be an absolute nightmare, I'd never find one to fit it, I just sold a resistor across the pot and it set it at about 90% volume, so good enough for me. The tone doesn't work, which is this one, doesn't seem to do much. But this one here is quite interesting. Now this works with the effects, and you can actually change the rate. So if you've got a modulation effect on, just rotating that speeds up the effect or slows it down. It actually works quite well. What more can I tell you about these? Not a great deal. Like I said, these were made in a budget range. They are playable. They are pretty good, as hopefully you'll hear. They did another version of this guitar, more in the sort of Strat copy. But anyway, let's go and see what this thing sounds like. folks, what do you think of these? To be fair to it, I know the effects were pretty crap, but in all honesty, this is probably around 40 years old now, and it's all analog components on that board. There's probably electrolytic caps that have dried out over that time, so I'm sure those effects have degraded over time, just to give it a bit of a fair chance. That's why I played it with some other effects pedals, just so you see how good it actually sounds. It really isn't a bad guitar, apart from being a heavy weight. Now, I'll just take it off so it doesn't fall off. One thing I didn't show you was, to get the effects, it's got a battery compartment in the back here, and that takes two 9-volt batteries, so I don't know how long they last. I've had those in there since I've had this. Not that I use it a lot, to be honest. But anybody else out there got one of these, please put in the comments if you do, or if you've ever owned one. I don't think they're bad guitars, and if you can pick them up cheap enough, I think you'll have a whole lot of fun out of it. Anyway, thanks very much for watching, and I do have some more in the series, plus I've got that other quite special guitar I picked up last week, which I've got to do a review on yet, so please stay tuned for that. So thanks for watching, and we'll catch up again soon. Bye now.